What would you do if you found out your wife had a secret online account, and the things on it could destroy your entire family? Yamada Susuke is about to discover that the perfect marriage he built might be hiding something unforgivable, and the man responsible could be someone he sees every single week.
What happens when a devoted husband discovers his wife might be living a secret double life online? Yamada Susuke loves his wife more than anything, but one accidental discovery is about to shatter everything he thought he knew. This is the story of a marriage that looks perfect on the surface, until it isn't. Susuke starts his morning like he always does, taking his sweet time getting ready, styling his hair with care. He asks himself why he puts in so much effort every single day. Is it for his clients, or to look professional at the office? No, that's not it at all. His wife Rika appears behind him, and suddenly the reason is obvious. She compliments how good he looks, and this man practically melts on the spot. Susuke is a 32-year-old pharmaceutical salesman who is absolutely, hopelessly, embarrassingly in love with his wife. Rika, 31, asks if he'll be home late, and Susuke promises to skip overtime today. She tells him she'll have dinner waiting, and just like that, he's walking on air. Then she mentions the Instagram photos from their family trip are blowing up with likes, and his face lights up even more. Their daughter, Shiho, 7 years old and already the most mature person in the house, walks in on her parents being lovey-dovey again. She tells her dad he's going to be late if he doesn't leave soon. This kid has zero patience for her parents' constant flirting, and she lets them both know it. Susuke wants to snap a photo of Shiho looking cute, and she agrees, but with conditions. If her mom posts it online, she better hide Shiho's face properly this time. Then she turns to her dad and tells him to fully switch off work mode before coming home. This 7-year-old is running the household. Rika hugs Susuke from behind, thanking him for everything, calling him honey. He looks at her and thinks what he always thinks, that she's the cutest person alive. The man is down so bad it's almost concerning, and he doesn't care who knows it. At the office, Susuke is caught staring at photos of his wife on his phone. Again. His co-workers have clearly seen this routine 1,000 times before. His kohai Terauchi Suguru, 27, strolls over with that signature smirk, calling him out for getting flustered over pictures of his own wife. Terauchi says he's brought something nice for Susuke, and Susuke immediately gets suspicious. He asks if it's that again, already bracing himself. Terauchi pulls out his phone and shows him what appears to be explicit content, and Susuke recoils. He insists no woman could ever excite him more than his wife. Terauchi isn't showing him random content, though. He's showing him something called a couple's secret account. Susuke has no idea what that even means, and Terauchi can barely contain his amusement. He explains it with a grin, mocking Susuke for being so devoted to his wife that he's completely out of touch with this corner of the internet. Susuke heads home that evening to find Rika cheerfully greeting him with a beautifully plated dinner. She proudly announces she made an aesthetic meal, holding up her phone to capture it. Then she drops a question that catches him completely off guard. She wants to take a bath together. Rika seems surprised by her own suggestion, blushing as she says they can do it after Shiho falls asleep. The mood shifts to something intimate and warm between them. Susuke can barely process the offer, still reeling from how lucky he feels to have this life. They end up in the bath together, and Rika reminisces about the last time they bathed as a group at a hot spring. She mentions a photo from that trip went viral online, her voice light and happy. But Susuke suddenly wants to get out early, and Rika notices he's not even warmed up yet. Something is wrong, and Rika can sense it even if she can't name it. Susuke stares at her shoulder and notices a mole in exactly the same spot. His mind is racing now, connecting dots he desperately wishes didn't connect. The realization hits him like a freight train. He steps out of the bathroom, grabs his phone, and pulls up a beer from the fridge with shaking hands. The can slips from his grip and crashes to the floor. One word echoes in his mind: confirmed. He's found a social media account called Manga Couple, run by a man using the handle at @Manga_man. The posts are about sweets, date spots, and cute couple activities, with someone who is clearly not single. The latest post casually mentions both people in the couple are married to other people, promising more wild content. Susuke's blood runs cold as the pieces fall into place. His wife might be the other half of this account. He thinks back to every sweet moment, every loving gesture, and a dark thought takes hold. That sleazy guy has been hanging around the elementary school, and Susuke's mind spirals. Is he connected to the school? A teacher, maybe? The next day, Rika mentions she's heading to a PTA meeting at Shiho's school. She seems nervous when Susuke suddenly announces he took a half day off and wants to come along. She hesitates, saying the roles have already been assigned and showing up unannounced might cause problems. But Susuke pushes through. He reminds her that his job is in sales and he's great at breaking the ice with strangers. Rika reluctantly agrees, and they head to the school together. Susuke thanks her quietly, but his mind is somewhere else entirely. He's not going for the PTA. He bursts into the meeting room with a booming introduction, donuts in hand from a trendy Shibuya shop. The other parents are charmed immediately, but one committee member catches Susuke's attention, and then a man walks in who makes his stomach drop. Because Susuke isn't here to make friends, he's here to find the man who might be destroying his marriage. Susuke walks into the PTA meeting with Rika, greeting everyone cheerfully, but inside his mind is a war zone. He still can't wrap his head around it, that his beloved Rika-chan might have a secret lover. She's smiling and chatting with the other parents like nothing is wrong, and it makes his stomach turn. The other PTA dads welcome him warmly, pointing him toward the group. Morozato-san introduces himself, then Kamizaki-san, and Susuke sizes up every single one of them. Behind that friendly salesman's smile, he's already running through his suspect list. Susuke starts mentally profiling the dads one by one, starting with Isobe Yuta, 36, a stay-at-home dad and PTA vice president who's popular with the moms. Then there's Mori Shingo, 27, who apparently runs a salon with his wife and is always glued to his phone. Each one gets filed away as a potential suspect. The last dad on his radar is Matsuo Jin, 39, a quiet, unfriendly freelance web designer who barely makes eye contact. The meeting begins with Wakatsuki Etsuko, 41, calling things to order, and young Akiba-sensei nervously handing out prints. Susuke watches everything, and in his mind, the declaration is clear. He already has a suspect. Susuke arrives at the next PTA meeting with a completely different energy, his eyes dark and focused. He still can't believe what he's uncovered, but the evidence is piling up. Rika walks in beside him, cheerful as always, and all he can think is that one of these men in this room has been with his wife. The thought consumes him. He's going to find his wife's affair partner and expose the guy to his job, his family, and ruin him socially. Susuke's rage is simmering beneath a perfectly composed exterior. He imagines the confrontation, the takedown, and he's ready for all of it. But meanwhile, someone else in the room is watching Susuke too. A shadowy figure glances at his phone, internally mocking Susuke as looking dumb, exactly as they'd heard. They even laugh about the fact that Susuke brought donuts, unknowingly feeding the very person sleeping with his wife. The figure scans the room, noting the camera angle from the lockers, recognizing this as the exact room where the videos were filmed. A camera had been set up on a tripod right on top of those lockers. Susuke hasn't figured that out yet, but the affair partner is sitting right there, smug and untouchable. After the meeting wraps up, Rika asks Susuke how his first PTA experience was. He forces a smile and tells her everyone seemed really nice, and she beams at him. But as they walk out together, Susuke notices something. Tripod marks scratched into the top of the lockers. He runs his fingers over the marks, and the realization clicks into place. This is the angle from the secret videos. One thing he learned from joining the PTA is that whoever filmed those videos had access to this specific room. The culprit isn't just connected to the school, they're one of the PTA members. Susuke's eyes narrow as he confirms it in his mind. The affair partner is among the PTA dads he just shook hands with. He replays every interaction, every smile, every handshake, searching for the crack in someone's mask. The hunt has officially begun, and now he knows exactly where to look. Back at home, Susuke sits at the dinner table but can't eat a thing. Rika notices immediately, asking if he has no appetite, and mentioning she made a viral recipe she found online. He apologizes weakly, saying he's just not hungry, and she accepts it with a worried smile. The weight of everything is destroying him from the inside. The sleepless nights, the paranoid thoughts, the obsessive phone checking. One night he tries to look through Rika's phone while she's sleeping, but she catches him red-handed. She wakes up and asks him point-blank why he has her phone. Susuke panics, blurting out that she dropped it while tossing in her sleep, and he just picked it up. Rika buys the excuse, barely, and laughs it off. But after that night, she never lets her phone leave her sight again, and that detail alone tells Susuke everything he needs to know. Little Shiho notices what the adults are too wrapped up to see. Her papa looks terrible. She walks up to him and quietly points out that the bags under his eyes are really dark. Susuke is stunned that his 7-year-old daughter is the one checking on him. Shiho goes to boil some water, then comes back with a warm cup for her father. She tells him to drink it so he can relax, and the tenderness of the gesture almost breaks him. This kid is holding the family together, while everything around her is quietly falling apart. Susuke reads the Manga couple account's latest post. They're bragging about filming at a school and planning to do it again. His blood goes ice cold as the timeline clicks together. He realizes that the next filming session could be happening soon, and he needs to catch them in the act. Saturday arrives, and Susuke tells Rika he's going on a business trip, but he heads straight to the school instead. His phone buzzes with a text from Rika, wishing him good luck on his trip, and the irony nearly kills him. He stands outside the school gates, waiting in the shadows. Then he spots something that stops him cold. Shiho's homeroom teacher, Akiba-sensei, is sneaking around the school on a Saturday. Susuke confronts her, and she stammers, asking why he's there too. Then she says something that makes his jaw drop. She asks if he also came to peek. Susuke follows Akiba-sensei's gaze through a window and sees exactly what she means. Two figures embracing in the darkened school building. His hands shake as he realizes he needs to get a photo of the person's face. He scrambles for his phone, heart pounding, knowing he's seconds away from catching the man who's destroying his family. But he hesitates for just a moment, and his only lead slips away into the shadows. The Manga account posts again, teasing more content, and Susuke is left standing in the dark hallway with nothing but rage and a dead end. He grabs Shiho when he gets home and hugs her tight, and she's confused, but lets him hold on, because Susuke has made up his mind about what he's going to do next. Susuke runs into Akiba-sensei at the school again, and this time she asks him a question that flips everything on its head. She casually asks if he also came to peek. He has no idea what she's talking about, but she leads him to a window where he spots two people embracing in the dark. His heart stops as he scrambles to identify the woman. But then his eyes adjust, and the realization hits him like a truck. The woman in the room isn't Rika. It's someone else entirely, and the man holding her is Isobe-san from the PTA. Susuke's brain short-circuits as the entire theory he built in his head starts crumbling apart. He stares at the couple and realizes this might be a completely different pair of cheaters using the school as their secret meeting spot. The Manga couple account, the school videos. Could it be that none of it has anything to do with Rika? The mole he saw in the bath doesn't match, and suddenly everything he was so sure about is thrown into question. Akiba-sensei, meanwhile, is watching the whole thing unfold with an unsettling level of familiarity. She mentions she's seen this kind of thing happen at the school before. Apparently, it's become a known hookup spot. Even high school students sneak in sometimes, and the teachers have no clue. Susuke can barely process what he's hearing. An elementary school being used as a spot for secret affairs. He asks Akiba-sensei directly if she saw his wife among the people sneaking around. She shakes her head and says she hasn't seen Shiho's mother, and something in Susuke's chest loosens just slightly. He apologizes for sneaking into the school, admitting he knows it's technically a crime, but couldn't think of any other way. Akiba-sensei surprises him by saying she understands completely. If she were married, she'd do the same thing. Then she drops another bombshell, demanding to know if the cheaters actually recorded videos at the school. Susuke pulls up the Manga couple's account and shows Akiba-sensei the content right there in the hallway. He has a brief moment of self-awareness, realizing the absurdity of showing his wife's alleged intimate videos to his daughter's homeroom teacher. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and he needs her help. Akiba-sensei watches the video with wide eyes, confirming it was filmed in the PTA lounge based on the angle and the room layout. She's shocked at how brazen the whole operation is, commenting on how risque the content gets. Then she asks Susuke a question so blunt it nearly knocks him sideways. Susuke is floored by how different this version of Akiba-sensei is from the shy, quiet teacher he met at PTA meetings. Behind closed doors, she's turning out to be something of a wild card with zero filter, but he shakes it off. Right now, he needs information, and she's the only person willing to help him get it. He tells Akiba-sensei about the Manga account's posts bragging about the school content, and how the channel is apparently making serious money. She's disgusted that the guy behind it has gotten so bold and arrogant. The account even posted a photo of the camera they used to film, which gives Susuke an idea. Susuke confronts Akiba-sensei about something that's been bothering him. How does she know about all this secret hookup activity at the school? She nervously tries to wave it off, but he grabs her and demands answers. He asks her point blank who was doing it the other time she saw, and her face goes pale. Akiba-sensei admits she's witnessed these encounters before, and even offers to help Susuke investigate. He picks up on something she said. She mentioned seeing it happen today, which means she's been watching these encounters regularly. The question of why his daughter's teacher is peeking at couples in empty classrooms hangs heavy in the air. Back at the next PTA meeting, Susuke sits through the balance sheet report while mentally profiling every dad in the room. The meeting wraps up, and Isobe calls for the dads to stick together, completely unaware that Susuke just caught him embracing another woman at the school days ago. The hypocrisy is thick enough to cut with a knife. Susuke has now confirmed something crucial. The Manga couple account might have nothing to do with Rika at all, but the school is definitely being used as a filming location. He needs to identify which PTA member owns the camera from the account's posts. The Manga account bragged about their equipment, and that's the thread he's going to pull. Akiba-sensei comes to Susuke with a plan. She's identified the specific camera model from the lovers' posts online. She says they can use the lens cap to track down the owner, since it's a distinctive model that can be matched. Susuke is confused about how a lens cap helps, but she tells him to trust her. She holds up a matching lens cap she bought from a second-hand app and lays out the strategy. If they can plant it or match it to someone's gear bag during a PTA meeting, they'll have their man. The plan is coming together, and Susuke realizes Akiba-sensei might be the unlikely partner he never knew he needed. Susuke shows Akiba-sensei the Manga account's profile, which features a photo of the camera used for filming. She studies it carefully and confirms the model, already forming a plan to use the camera itself to identify the affair partner. Her eyes are sharp and focused. This isn't the nervous teacher from the PTA meetings anymore. But Susuke can't shake one nagging thought. Akiba-sensei recognized the account and the content way too quickly for someone who supposedly just stumbled onto it. She's clearly been watching the situation unfold for a while, and her eagerness to help feels like it goes beyond simple concern for the school. Susuke tells himself he decided he'd never have doubts again. He has to do this for Shiho's sake. Whether Rika is involved or not, someone is using his daughter's school to film explicit content, and he's going to find out who. The investigation is no longer just about saving his marriage, it's about protecting his family. Meanwhile, hidden in the shadows of the PTA meeting room, the real culprit watches Susuke with amusement, snapping photos on his phone. He mocks Susuke internally, calling him dumb-looking and laughing about how the clueless husband even brought donuts for his wife's affair partner. But Susuke is closing in faster than this guy realizes, and the lens cap trap is about to be set. Akiba-sensei lays out the full plan. She bought a matching lens cap for the camera model the Manga account posted about. The idea is simple but clever. Plant it in the PTA room as a lost item, and report it officially. The only person who would know that cap belongs to their camera is the person who filmed those videos, so whoever comes to claim it reveals themselves. Susuke gets it immediately. If they report it as a found item to the PTA, the owner would have to step forward. He excitedly jumps ahead, thinking the culprit will just waltz in and grab it. Akiba-sensei gives him a D for that theory, explaining the odds are low, but the real trap is more psychological than that. She explains the deeper play. What happens when an object that only the secret filmmaker knows exists suddenly appears out in the open for everyone to see? The culprit won't be able to help themselves from reacting, even if they don't claim it outright. It's a trap, designed to catch a flinch, a glance, any tiny crack in the mask. The PTA meeting begins, and the lens cap is presented to the group as a found item discovered near the lockers. Susuke watches every face in the room like a hawk, scanning for the slightest twitch of recognition. But to his shock, nobody reacts at all. Not a single person flinches or looks startled. Susuke's mind races. Is the culprit really that good at hiding their emotions? Or is the guilty party not even in the room right now? Akiba-sensei catches his eye with a knowing look, signaling that there's still one more person to watch. There's someone else who might react to seeing that cap, someone they haven't tested yet. The meeting wraps up, and Akiba-sensei suggests the PTA should assign someone to manage the lost and found inventory going forward. She even proposes giving the job to someone who joined halfway through and doesn't have a role yet, pointing the responsibility directly at Susuke. It's a calculated move to keep him embedded in the investigation. After the meeting, Matsuo-jin approaches Susuke in the empty classroom and asks him point blank if he'd manage the inventory. Susuke freezes. Is Matsuo testing him? Trying to figure out if Susuke is onto him? The tension between them is electric, two men sizing each other up with completely different agendas. Susuke stares Matsuo down, his suspicion locked onto the quiet freelance web designer with the unfriendly demeanor. He thinks to himself, since Matsuo works from home, does he think he can just have any affair he wants? Susuke internally vows to gather enough evidence and drag this man through public humiliation. But then, Akiba-sensei calls out to Susuke, and Matsuo walks away without another word. Susuke is left wondering if Matsuo just deliberately called him out, or if it was an innocent request. The paranoia is eating him alive, and every interaction feels like a chess move in a game where he can't see the full board. Matsuo invites Susuke to a welcome party at his apartment, and Susuke's internal alarm bells go off immediately. He knows it could be a trap. Matsuo might be trying to figure out how much Susuke knows about the affair with Rika, but if there's even a 1% chance of finding evidence, Susuke has to take it. A few days later, Susuke arrives at Matsuo's high-rise apartment with Rika, his nerves on edge. The building is expensive and modern, and Susuke immediately starts calculating. How does a freelance web designer afford a place like this? Inside, he meets the rest of the PTA social group and tries to keep his composure. He's introduced to Matsuo's wife, Sina, who is 29 and strikingly provocative in her greeting. She tells Susuke to have a good time, and even his wife-obsessed brain has to admit she's quite something. But of course, his immediate next thought is that he still prefers Rika-chan. The man's devotion is unshakable even in the middle of an investigation. The group gathers at Matsuo's place, and Susuke meets Higo Naoko and Morozato Mitsuhiko, who fill him in on Matsuo's personality. Apparently, the guy is a massive clean freak who can't stand people talking too close because of the saliva. Susuke watches Matsuo obsessively sanitize his hands and files that detail away as potentially useful information. Susuke realizes he might be able to get evidence of the affair from Matsuo's wife Sena while they're all at the party. He sneaks toward the bedroom and notices the couple has a lot of expensive things, way more than a simple web designer's salary should allow. The pieces are starting to add up in a very specific direction. Then Sena drops a bombshell that changes everything. She tells Susuke she thinks her husband is having an affair. She says she wanted another child, and the implication hits Susuke like a punch to the gut. If Matsuo's own wife suspects him of cheating, then Susuke might not be the only one whose marriage is falling apart. Susuke is stunned. Sena is tearfully confessing that she's embarrassed to be seen like this by someone she just met. She asks Susuke a question that catches him off guard. Since becoming parents, do he and his wife still go out together? The vulnerability in her voice tells him this woman is suffering just as much as he is. Sena asks Susuke for help undressing. Her outfit has a difficult zipper she can't reach on her own. He panics immediately, his face going red as he stammers that he'll wait outside. Even in the middle of an investigation that could blow up his entire life, this man refuses to be alone with another woman in a bedroom. Back at the party, Susuke studies Matsuo from across the room, watching every micro-expression and gesture. Matsuo offers to take care of the lens cap situation himself, and Susuke's suspicion spikes. Why would he volunteer for that unless he wants to make the evidence disappear? The two men lock eyes, and the air between them turns to ice. Susuke confronts Matsuo mentally, calling him out as the manga content creator, mocking how a good-looking guy like him thinks he can do whatever he wants. He's convinced now that Matsuo Jin is the bastard behind everything, and he's ready to gather every last piece of evidence needed to destroy him socially. But as the party winds down and Susuke watches the PTA members interact, he notices Akiba-sensei's words echoing in his head. There's still someone else who might react to that lens cap, someone they haven't fully accounted for. And just as Susuke thinks he's finally figured it all out, the real question hits him. What if the person behind the manga account isn't who he thinks it is at all?